The Kiowas of the Oklahoma Plains, along with their trading partners, the Comanches, developed a distinctive horse and buffalo hunting culture that has become a central theme in Old West legends, often portrayed as the archetypal Native Americans. Their lifestyle has been romanticized in literature, celebrated in films, and thoroughly examined in historical studies. The Plains tribes are frequently thought of when people think about American Indians, but the Kiowas were not originally from the Plains in the South. They displaced the Apaches, Wichitas, and Caddos, along with their villages, as they moved south into what is now Oklahoma and Texas. They arrived in the Southwest around the same time the Spanish and Americans began to claim the same territory, leading to a complex relationship marked by suspicion and deception, as well as trade and cooperation. According to legend, the Kiowas emerged from the hollow trunk of a cottonwood tree along the northeastern Rocky Mountain range. Their creator bestowed upon them the land, customs, and the skills to hunt. While small game such as deer, antelope, and birds were their primary food sources, they eventually began to follow the herds, making bison their mainstay. This shift likely led the Kiowas to dominate the region that now includes western Oklahoma, the Texas Panhandle, and northeastern New Mexico, as their lifestyle became heavily dependent on bison. The Kiowas left the Rocky Mountains and settled in the Black Hills among the Crows until they moved south. The Kiowas and Crows formed strong kinship ties. For instance, Chief Kickingbird of the Kiowas in the 18th century had Crow ancestry. However, the Dakotas waged war against both the Kiowas and Crows for control of the land, prompting the Kiowas to move further south, where they encountered horses. Similar to the Comanches, the emerging Plains culture could not have formed a powerful empire without the horse. When the Spanish introduced modern horses to America, though a miniature horse existed in North America during the Ice Age, nomadic tribes quickly recognized the benefits of these animals. Kiowa warriors conducted raids into Mexico and Texas to steal horses, especially targeting ranches or villages they disapproved of, but they also participated in trade. The Kiowas quickly became adept at taming and managing horses, earning a reputation as exceptional riders. Kiowa settlements were composed of animal skin tents, which could be swiftly disassembled yet being strong and long-lasting due to their nomadic lifestyle. They lived in these shelters, often referred to by Americans as teepees or wigwams, even during the winter, building grass fences to protect against the harsh prairie cold. They transported their belongings using sleds called travois, which were pulled by women, children, or dogs. Women managed the daily operations of the village. They raised children, made clothing, set up camps, prepared meals, processed jerked meat and pemmican sausage, crafted cooking utensils, and fetched water. Men gained significant status by proving themselves as warriors and hunters, often taking multiple wives as a reflection of their standing. Marriages were typically straightforward. After giving gifts to the bride's father, the couple would live with her family until their first child was born. After that, the man could set up his own home, while his wife generally remained with her mother, grandmother, sisters, and aunts to raise the children. The Kiowas held their children in high regard and did not believe in corporal punishment. Individuals who identified as homosexual or transgender were considered spiritual, embodying both male and female qualities, and they played a significant role in the scalp dance, a ceremonial cleansing ritual conducted after a successful raid. The Kiowas engaged in various ceremonial dances, with the sun dance being the most significant. They also tracked time using a calendar. Along with the Dakotas, they were among the few Plains Indians to utilize such a tool. Despite invading Wichita and Apache territories, the Kiowas developed kinship ties with these groups. The Wichita Confederacy, which included the Tauvayas, Tawaconis, Wacos, and Kiachais, participated in horse raids and traded agricultural products for bison. The Kiowas also intermarried with the Apaches, forming a distinct group known as the Kiowa Apaches, who maintained Kiowa cultural practices. In contrast, the Caddos were primarily agricultural and, along with the Tonkawas, resented the Kiowa presence in their lands. The Kiowas also engaged in conflicts with the Cheyennes, Dakotas, Pawnees, Utes, and Osages, frequently ambushing villages to capture and scalp their enemies. As a warrior culture, the Kiowas understood that instilling fear in their adversaries was an effective strategy, a tactic they also applied against American settlers. Since the time of La Salle's travels, the Kiowas and Mexicans had been trading furs, and the Mexicans had known the Kiowas since the 17th century. However, the Kiowas' first significant interaction with Americans occurred at the start of the 19th century. Although Lewis and Clark didn't encounter the Kiowas directly, they did hear of them. In 1707, Zebulon M. Pike met both the Kiowas and Comanches in present-day Oklahoma, but the first extended meetings happened during the Stephen Long expedition in 1820. This expedition divided into two groups. Edwin James and Stephen Long were tasked with exploring the Red River Valley, while Captain John R. Bell was assigned to the Arkansas area. Bell documented in his expedition journal that he twice encountered Kiowa couples eloping, leaving their villages to start anew among relatives. He also provided descriptions of their physical appearance, noting that the men were tall and strong, with braids over each ear and at the back, while the women had long, flowing hair and were robust. Bell appeared to be a likable individual and was well received by Kiowa chiefs, who honored him with a horse, the highest honor a Kiowa could bestow. The Kiowas relied entirely on the buffalo for their way of life. Their teepees were constructed from buffalo hides, as were their clothing and moccasins. They consumed buffalo meat as a staple of their diet, and their containers were crafted from hides, bladders, or stomachs. The buffalo were central to the Kiowa existence, deeply intertwined with their culture and spirituality. Most importantly, the buffalo held significant religious importance. A white buffalo calf was sacrificed during the sun dance. Priests utilized various parts of the buffalo in their prayers, whether healing individuals or singing to spiritual powers. Chief Satank, also known by his people as Satangya or Sitting Bear, was a prominent Kiowa leader, medicine man, and head of the Kiowa Honor Society known as Koitsenk, or the 10 Bravest Warriors. Born around 1810 in the Black Hills region of South Dakota, Chief Satank rose to prominence early in life. He played a key role in brokering the final peace between the Kiowa and Cheyenne around 1840. Despite being the first signer of the Medicine Lodge Treaty of 1867, he signed it with reluctance. After being relocated to the Fort Sill Reservation in Oklahoma, he began resisting authority. In 1870, following the death of his son at the hands of white men during a raid in Texas, Satank took up leadership in retaliatory attacks on settlers. On May 18, 1871, Chief Satank, along with fellow Kiowa warriors Satanta and Big Tree, led the Warren Wagon train raid in Texas, also known as the Salt Creek Massacre. Henry Warren was hired to provide supplies to Fort Richardson, Fort Griffin, and Fort Concho, among other Texas forts. As his freight train traveled along the Jacksboro-Belknap Road toward Salt Creek Crossing, the group crossed paths with General William T. Sherman, who had previously allowed Satanta and his warriors to pass without issue. Less than an hour later, the wagon train encountered a group of about 100 Kiowa warriors. Sensing an impending attack, the wagon train quickly formed a defensive ring, but the 12 teamsters were soon overpowered by the warriors. After the assault, the native forces seized all the supplies and killed and mutilated 7 of the men. 5 managed to escape, with Thomas Braziel traveling nearly 20 miles to reach Fort Richardson. Colonel Ranald S. McKenzie instantly ordered General Sherman to pursue and apprehend the culpable warriors after learning of the incident. After openly bragging about the raid to the agent at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, Satank, along with Satanta and Big Tree, were arrested by the military and ordered to be taken to Texas for trial. Satank, unwilling to be held captive, made a defiant stand. He tore the shackles from his wrists, pulled out a hidden knife, and lunged at a guard. He was shot dead by soldiers and interred at the Fort Sill, Oklahoma Military Cemetery. Apiatone, also known as Kwitatse, was a chief of the Kiowa tribe in Oklahoma and is considered the last traditional leader of the tribe. Apiatone, whose name translates to wooden lance or kills with a lance, was born around 1856 near Medicine Lodge, Kansas. He came from a line of respected Kiowa leaders and warriors. His father was Red Otter, a Kiowa leader, and he was related by blood to Little Otter and Red Cloud, the Oglala Lakota war chief. Apiatone was also a well-known Kiowa chief Lone Wolf's nephew. Apiatone's leadership and knowledge earned him great esteem. In the spring of 1890, when the ghost dance religion began to spread throughout the Plains Indians, carrying with it the prophecy of the end of European American authority and the restoration of the buffalo and old customs, Apiatone was chosen by the Kiowa to go to the Pine Ridge Agency in South Dakota. There, he received a warm welcome from his Lakota relatives. He also traveled to Fort Washakie, hoping to find spiritual guidance from the northern Arapaho. They directed him to the Paiutes in Nevada, where he met the prophet in Mason Valley. Upon returning home, a council was called in Anadarko, attended by various area tribes including the Arapaho, who were to present their beliefs. When Apiatone spoke, he expressed his desire to uncover the truth, sharing the story of his journey and his conclusion that the prophecy was a falsehood. Apiatone was a member of the Native American Church and used peyote as a sacrament. He was also part of the Gourd Dance Society, where he composed some of the songs as well as other dance songs and participated in all the tribal dances. Around 1916, he converted to Methodism and joined the Rainy Mountain Church in 1925, becoming an active member. In his later years, Chief Apheatone helped establish the Kiowa Indian Hospital in Lawton, Oklahoma. During his tenure as chief, he implemented a democratic system of tribal governance and proposed the idea of a committee to handle tribal affairs. He felt he earned enough to support himself and his family, so he refused to accept payment for his work on behalf of the tribe. Chief Apiatone strongly believed in the importance of education for the Kiowa people, often traveling to learn about modern ways of life. Apiatone passed away on August 8, 1931, and was laid to rest at Rainy Mountain Cemetery, located south of Mountain View, Oklahoma.